Hello friends, in this video we will explore the question on every Indian's mind, that is, can our massive local market protect the economy from the impact of the US tariffs and possible sanctions in the future? From textile to technology, we will break down the sectors most at risk and analyze the potential fallout. But what if India doubles down on its Made in India and Vocal for Local campaigns? We investigate whether a surge in domestic consumption fueled by potential GST rate cuts could be the key to unlocking unprecedented GDP growth, and therefore discover the immense power of internal demand and how a self-reliant India could not only survive but thrive in the changing global landscape. Let's go. Namaste and welcome to our deep dive into one of the most critical economic questions facing India today. So, my name is Chandrakant. I am your host on this live show. And we are running a hub of innovation and commerce to explore topic that touches every single one of us, from the street vendor to tech giants. Can India's massive local market truly withstand the pressure of the US tariffs and sanctions? So for years, the global trade has been cornerstone of the economic growth. But in the recent time, we have seen a shift towards, sort of protectionism, with tariffs and sanctions becoming tool of geopolitical strategy. The United States, a major trading partner for India, has now shied away from using these measures. So what happens when this economic giant flexes its muscle against rising power like India? And that is what we are here to unravel. First, let us understand the nature of the threat. What exactly are US tariffs and sanctions? How do they impact a country like India? Tariffs are essentially tax imposed on the imported goods and services. When the US places tariff on Indian products, it makes them more expensive for American consumers, which can reduce demand and hurt Indian exporters. Sanctions, on the other hand, are broader restrictions on the trade or the financial transactions, often aimed at achieving political objectives. So for India, the US is a crucial market. From agriculture products to textiles, pharmaceuticals, and IT services, Indian exports to US are significant. When these exports faces a barrier, it can lead to, number one, reduce export revenue, which will directly hit the businesses and the national economy. Number two is the job losses, and especially in the export-oriented industry. Number three is the supply chain disruption, so especially for companies relying on the global inputs. Number four is the currency fluctuation. As an investor, confidence might waver because of these changes. We have seen how tariffs have affected various sectors globally. The big question for India is, how vulnerable are we and what is our primary defense? To answer that, we need to look at India's unique economic landscape. India is often called the sleeping giant due to its immense potential, primarily driven by its population and the huge middle class. Let us now understand the vulnerabilities to begin with. There are certain sectors in India that are indeed highly dependent on the exports to the US. Take textiles and apparel industry, for example, which employs millions and heavily relies on the international markets. Similarly, parts of gems and jewelry sectors are are also involved in the export business. Certain pharmaceutical exports could feel the pinch as well. If the tariffs make these products uncompetitive, these industries could face significant challenges, potentially leading to job losses in places like Gurugram or Mumbai, Hyderabad. These are the strong places, industrial towns in India. and especially all the other major towns with strong manufacturing bases. However, this is where the India's unique strength come into play. Its colossal local market. With a population of over 1.4 billion people, India has an internal consumer base that is truly humongous. Unlike smaller export-dependent economies, a substantial portion of India's economy activity is driven by the domestic consumption. From the daily groceries bought at a local kirana store to cars, electronics, and services, Indians are increasingly buying made in India products. This internal demand acts as a powerful buffer and economic shock absorber against the external pressures. This inherent strength has been consciously amplified by a national call to action, which is known as Vocal for Local movement. It is more than just a slogan. It is a strategic initiative to empower domestic industries, create jobs, and foster self-reliance. The idea is simple yet profound. If Indians collectively decide to prioritize and purchase locally manufactured products, the sheer volume of the internal demand can propel our GDP to unprecedented levels. Imagine the impact of this particular change. If every household in India shifted even a small percentage of its spending from imported goods to locally sourced alternatives, the ripple effect would be monumental. This movement isn't just about economic resilience, it's about the national pride and community building. When you buy from a local vendor, you're not just getting a product, you're supporting a family, contributing to your local economy, and strengthening the fabric of your community. This shift in consumer mindset, combined with government support, is very, very crucial. For instance, initiatives like Make in India campaigns are designed to attract manufacturing and investments, ensuring that more high-quality goods are produced right here in India for Indians. Beyond the patriotic calls, concrete policy measures are also vital. And one of the most powerful levers the Indian government has at its disposal is the Goods and Services Tax, also known as GST. GST was introduced to simplify India's complex indirect tax structure, aiming for one nation, one tax system. While it has streamlined processes, the rates themselves play a crucial role in consumer behavior. The argument is compelling. If GST rates on certain essential or popular local products were to be reduced, it could significantly lower their final price for consumers. Lower prices means increased affordability, which in turn stimulate demand. This could create a virtuous cycle. Starting with lower GST will lead to cheaper products will lead to higher demand will lead to increased production, which is basically local manufacturing. Increased production will lead to job creation and economic growth, which will be directly proportional to the higher GDP. This strategy aligned perfectly with the Vocal for Local initiatives. Make locally produced goods even making it more attractive than their imported counterparts. Economic studies often show a direct correlation between tax rates and the consumer spending. If India can fine-tune its GST structure for to tackle the tariff to boost internal consumption strategically, it could be a game changer in insulating our economy from external shocks like US tariffs. While strengthening the local market is crucial, India's strategy cannot solely be inward-looking. A robust global strategy that includes diversification of trade partners and supply chain is equally important. India is actively pursuing strong economic ties with other regions like ASEAN nations, European Union, and African countries. This reduces over-reliance on one single market, including the US, and therefore by fostering diversified trade agreements, India can create alternative export destinations for its goods and secure alternative sources for its import, making it less vulnerable to policies of one nation. Furthermore, India's growing innovation ecosystem, particularly in the areas like digital services, renewable energy, and biotechnology, positions it uniquely. These sectors are less susceptible to traditional manufacturing tariffs and represent future growth engines that can drive exports and attract foreign investment, irrespective of trade disputes in a conventional, especially in the conventional way. The goal is not just to withstand tariffs, but to emerge stronger and more self-reliant on the global stage with diversified economic portfolio. Of course, this journey is not without its challenges. While the vision is clear, implementation requires sustained effort. The key challenges include starting with ensuring quality and standardization for made in India products, which is truly to compete and gain consumer trust. Consistent quality and adherence to international standards are going to be very, very important. In fact, I would say paramount. Next is infrastructure development. Robust logistics, reliable power, and efficient transportation networks are essential for local manufacturers to scale up and compete effectively. Next is ease of doing business. So further reforms are needed to make it easier for small and medium enterprise, also known as SMEs, to start and operate and grow, encourage more local production, and basically increase hiring of the local resources. And lastly, the global competition. Even with vocal for local, Indian products must offer competitive pricing and features against established global brands. The road ahead requires multi-pronged approach, continued policy support, investment in R&D, skill development, and sustained push for quality. It also demands a flexible and adaptive approach from both the government and industries to respond to evolve global trade dynamics. And so, can India local market withstand US tariffs? The answer is unequivocally is yes, with strategic intent and collective action. India possesses an unparalleled asset in its vast domestic consumer base. By nurturing this market through policies like GST rate adjustment, by championing the movement like vocal for local, and by strategically diversifying its global economic relationships, India can not only weather the external trade storms but emerge as more resilient and self-reliant economic powerhouse. The choice ultimately lies with us, the consumers, the entrepreneurs, and the policymakers. By choosing local, by investing in our own products, we are not just making a purchase, we are casting a vote for India's economic sovereignty and future prosperity. So friends, thanks for joining me on this important discussion. I'd like to know your comments, your thoughts, and until next time, please stay informed, stay engaged, keep supporting Made in India. Catch you again, friends, in the next one.